so let's talk Corey Davis. Corey Davis just got signed with the New York Jets, and Corey Davis he's honestly my favorite disappointment. As far as players go, Corey Davis is a guy that I've been into for a long time. I'm not going to lie, he has always let us down. But let's talk about why, because that's why we're here. We're here to learn about why we need to go buy Corey Davis. He's got some of the Jets. That's exciting. It's exciting. Like, get pumped. Like, Corey Davis's career, like I said, has been marred in disappointment. He's averaged in his career 50.9 yards per game. That ain't going to cut it. That's not good. But when you look at Corey Davis' sophomore comps is something I've been doing this year. This is the first year I've been doing it. And when I go back in time and look at them, they're remarkably accurate. So Corey Davis' sophomore comps is built using rookie year point per game, their ADP trends, their PFF receiving grade, and their prospect profile grade. So the grade that I give them as a prospect. Corey Davis was a coin flip prospect. You can make a pretty easy argument that he should have been bulletproof because he was a top 5 pick, but I've never made the adjustment for top 5 picks. Something I may be looking to in the future. Here's where we're at. We have Jordy Nelson, Devontae Adams, Alshon Jeffrey, Eric Decker, Michael Gallup. All of those guys hit top 24 seasons. And then Stephen Hill, who did not hit. We have 5 hits and 1 miss. And of those hits, 4 of them have hit top 12 seasons. The only one who hasn't is Michael Gallup, who is in his, going into his 4th year. So he's still got time. Corey Davis has a lot of really good comps. His rookie year was good enough to put him into a group of these guys. His prospect profile is good enough to put him into a group of these guys. Oh, and he's an alpha. I forgot to mention he's an alpha. He's big. He's big enough to carry the load on the outside, which is what he's done since he's been in the NFL. As I mentioned, he's been a disappointment, but we need to discover why he's been a disappointment because that's a big thing here. His target share in 2018 was 26.4%, 2019 was 16.8%, 2020 was 23.1%. As soon as the 2019 season ended, one of his teammates said, I don't forget exactly what he said, but something along the lines of Corey Davis played with turf toe the entire friggin' year. That's why we see this huge drop in role in the offense. As soon as he was back to full strength in 2020, they bumped him right back up to 23.1. So we're looking at a 3-year average of 22.1%. That's including the turf toe year. If we take out the turf toe year, we're looking at 24.75%. Corey Davis is a big part of the offense. He always has been, and he probably always will be because these guys own their volume. Once you have an established player getting a certain amount of volume year over year over year, they own it. The only thing that changes it is, injury or pretty much injury usually. So those target shares by year, they're enough to be a top 24 wide receiver in fantasy football. The issue for Corey Davis has been the Tennessee Titans. That's what the problem is. That's why he's been a perpetual disappointment. It's nothing to do with Corey Davis. It has to do with the Titans. In 2018, the Titans had 27.3 pass attempts per game. In 2019, it was 26.9, and in 2020, it was 30.1. The ranks in those years, 31, 32, and 30. They were a bottom 3 volume year over year over year. Corey Davis's entire career has been marred in the lowest volume offenses you can find in football. That's why he's been a disappointment. He has 2 seasons inside the top 30 and none inside the top 24, and it has everything to do with that volume. So, my question for you is, will that change? So then we need to look at Corey Davis played with A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown is universally lauded as one of the best wide receivers in football. I agree. A.J. Brown is a fantastic football player. A.J. Brown had a 25.8% target share last year. Corey Davis nearly matched him with 23.1. They both ate. That means Corey Davis is also very good. I put up a poll on Twitter asking, a blind poll. It was, which list of cornerbacks is a more difficult schedule? Over 70% of respondents voted that Corey Davis played the more difficult cornerback schedule than A.J. Brown did last year. Corey Davis is already playing the alpha role. He played it with A.J. Brown on the team. That ain't going to change. Anybody they have in New York isn't A.J. Brown. Denzel Mims isn't good. If he was, he would be better. He dominated 1 year out of 4 in college. Denzel Mims played 1 season with Jalen Hurd. Jalen Hurd transferred, played wide receiver the first time in his life, and outproduced Denzel Mims. Denzel Mims isn't good. That's why he got a bad grade from me. He only produced 1 out of 4 seasons. He got outproduced by a first-time wide receiver. He was a senior. Like, there's just nothing really to like about the Denzel Mims prospect profile. He face planted as a rookie. He lost value. His comp lists are terrible. And now Corey Davis is there, and Corey Davis now has the easiest competition he's had in 2 years. Jamison Crowder's a nice player, but he's a slot player. Like, Corey Davis will eat Jamison Crowder's lunch. That's without question. So last year, 2020, Davis missed 2 games, but he's still on pace for 1,125 receiving yards on a team with the 30th most volume in the world. 30th! The sky is the limit for Corey Davis. If he can get out of this bottom tier offense into an offense that actually passes the ball forward. Like, they believe in the forward pass. That's what Corey Davis needs. Last year in 2020, his yards per target was 10.7. That was wide receiver 8 in the world. His yards per route run was 2.67. That was number 4 in the world. His PFF grade was 8th in the NFL at 87.2. Corey Davis was a top wide receiver in football last year. To think anything otherwise is just silliness. Well, all that being said, now we're looking at the New York Jets, right? New York Jets were one of the lowest passing offenses in all of football last year. But we're smart enough to realize that was Adam Gase, and Adam Gase is fired along with the entire coaching staff. Coaching philosophy dictates passing volume. That's why we care about coaches. Most of them don't matter because they're all kind of the same, but some of them do matter. Like, say, Mike Vrabel instructing his offensive coordinators to pass for the bottom of the league pass volume year over year over year. And by the way, that predates Mike Vrabel into the, the exotic smash mouth era. Like, the Tennessee Titans have this organizational philosophy of running the football, and it doesn't make sense because they're very analytically focused. If you look at their draft picks, like Jonnu Smith was, he wasn't very good in my process, but he's good in a lot of other people's process. Corey Davis is a good prospect. AJ Brown's a good prospect. There's Tajay Sharp. For a 5th round pick, he had a good profile. Like, they're looking at the right detail. Marcus Mariota is one of the best prospects we've ever seen. Like, from a analytical perspective, it didn't work out, but I mean, sometimes it doesn't, right? Like, we're playing probabilities. The Tennessee Titans front office focuses on the right details. Their coaching staff does not. Hard to blame them, though. Like, they have Derrick Henry who can just plow through everyone. But before they were using Derrick Henry, they were doing with Dion Lewis, and that obviously wasn't going to work. Anyways, I'm going to stop ranting on that. New York Jets head coach and offensive coordinator coming from San Francisco, and the Kyle Shanahan way of doing things. San Francisco was 20th in pass attempts at 33.2 pass attempts per game last year. The New York Jets, I have a hard time seeing them be a competitive team, so I think it's reasonable to suggest that they'll be a mid-tier passing offense, given that the coaches last year in San Francisco did pass the ball. They weren't Adam Gase. So if we take and do some high-level projections, we're not going to get really into the meat and potatoes of the projections because I never really do. I just look at high-level what's possible. So we take the 33.2 pass attempts that the San Francisco 49ers had last year times 16 games. That's 531 attempts. Corey Davis's 3-year average is 22%. That's 100 target share, 22% target share. That's 117 targets. If we use his non-turf toe target share, it's 24.75% at 131 targets. So we're talking about a guy who should be firmly in the wide receiver 2 conversation, who could push wide receiver 1 volume. That could happen. Now we take his yards per target. His career yards per target is 8.4, but we're going to drop his rookie season because we should always drop rookie seasons. Rookie seasons aren't fair for wide receivers. That's why I use sophomore comps. I compare rookie year to rookie year. So we're going to drop the rookie year. That brings Corey Davis's yards per target career average to 9.07. 117 targets times 907s, 1,061 yards. 131 targets times 907s, 1,188 yards. We're talking about a guy who has a likely 1,200 yard season this year. That's what I'm expecting from him. He'll be firmly in the wide receiver 2 conversation. There's a chance he gets into the wide receiver 1 conversation. So what can you buy him for? This obviously isn't updated as he just got signed literally today. So I go to Dynasty League Football Trade Analyzer, right? They tell me what he's worth. And what they say he's worth in a Superflex league is the 208 pick in rookie drafts. I think that's a perfectly fair price. I'm not paying the 208 because I like the players that are available there this year. But if you're not following the Bulletproof prospect process or some other process that's really good, then you may want to just trade for the 208 because you might end up with a Henry Ruggs or something like that at that pick. And that's just never going to cut it. You could pick a Denzel Mims at that pick this year. That would be terrible. You don't want to do that. You want to focus on the right details and get guys that are actually good. We're going to get some at 208 this year. So don't trade your 208. What you should do instead, the Dynasty League Football Trade Analyzer tells us who his value is the same as or similar as. So they suggest trading him for a Jalen Waddle, an Irv Smith Jr., a Dallas Goedert, a Denzel Mims, and a Ronald Jones. That's who they think you can just trade straight up for him. I think that's fair. I would trade any of those guys. There's a couple other guys, but I wouldn't trade them for Corey Davis. I like that. Like Rashad Bateman. Give me Rashad Bateman every time. Rashad Bateman's a bulletproof alpha. We're talking high probability of hitting. And then I just went to the Dynasty League Football ADP. and looked at who is around Corey Davis. These are guys that are going in Superflex League, going right beside Corey Davis. So we have Raheem Mostert. I did a video on Raheem Mostert like 2 weeks ago. He's fool's gold. Punt him. Get out of here. Give me Corey Davis. Cole Kmet. Cole Kmet is going ahead of Corey Davis in startups, or was before this New York Jets signing. That's crazy. Cole Kmet? Like, come on. Punt him. Get him out of here. Robert Tonyan, move on. Jonnu Smith. I don't know if you can still get Corey Davis for Jonnu Smith now that Hunter Henry signed there, but maybe, everyone's talking the Gronk Hernandez thing. This isn't the Gronk Hernandez thing for what it's worth. Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry are definitely not Gronk. I don't know if either guy or Hernandez. It's hard to know, but come on. No, hard pass. So if you can trade Jonnu Smith for Corey Davis, you should do it. If you can trade Kenyon Drake, you should do it. Jordan Love, beat it. Darnell Mooney is a guy that is going just below Corey Davis. And Darnell Mooney is probably someone that you can maybe add a third to and get a Corey Davis, because people have this obsession with young players. There's just this eternal optimism that just manifests in people. They think that Darnell Mooney can be good, and maybe he can. But his rookie year was nothing. It was good for a day 3 pick, but it was nothing special in the grand scheme of the NFL. His prospect profile was okay, and his draft capital sucked. So he is an extreme risk for just disappearing overnight. He could be Darius Slayton very easily. And then we got other guys like Marvin Jones, Jamar Jefferson, Zach Moss, Devontae Parker, any of those guys. Trade them straight up for Corey Davis. Add thirds, add fourths, whatever. Go get Corey Davis. Corey Davis has been extremely disappointing to this point in his career, but I think I'm betting on him having a Robert Woods type second half to his career. He's 26 years old. He's now in a position where he's out of that frustratingly low volume offense where he can now flourish. They're going to draft probably a Zach Wilson or a Justin Fields. The Jets are going to have some good players, and they have maybe good coaches. Who knows? Hopefully they don't have league worst coaches like he had in Tennessee. That's really what it comes down to. I'm buying Corey Davis, and I think you should too.